someone says like I love you, you might just throw it back like, oh, I love you too.
Yeah.
But if you don't really know what that means, if you never took the time to understand it, then you might be acting in a way that shows that you don't love somebody.
Yes.
But you've already said it.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
That is, because it's not lining up.
But like throwing out that word, I think it also makes other people misunderstand what it actually means.
People will use that word and weaponize it too. And what I mean by that is this, is that if you love me, you wouldn't do that. If you love me, you would do this. If you love me, you wouldn't leave me. People will use the word in a way to kind of keep someone in a situation or get someone into a situation. The person who is saying it has to mean it. I mean, and if they don't, then they're misusing it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. I'm Martel.
I'm Pastor Rod.
And we so appreciate you for being here. Today's subject, or today, I went to a wedding recently.
You went to a wedding? I didn't know about this. You went to, maybe I did, but tell me, okay, what did you notice at this wedding?
Yeah, so I went to, it was the first wedding for like a friend that I was invited to, so I was super pumped, super excited to be here. Because I got the invitation in the mail like a few months earlier.
Okay.
I saw it, I knew who it was. It was a guy that I used to work with when I worked for like a baseball team way back. And he ended up getting married.
Okay.
And so, he got married with the same lady who he was with back then. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm kind of been like a sideline fan of this relationship.
Okay.
And so I got the invitation in the mail. I decided that it was necessary for me to wear my best suit to this.
Wait, you got a suit? I've never seen you in a suit. You got to show the pictures. But anyway, go ahead.
Shout out to Taylor Detroit. They fitted me up.
All right.
So yeah, got to the wedding. And I loved the scenery. I loved how the families were all so happy and excited. It was my first wedding. All
right, cool.
And I was there with two other people who were also working that same summer that we were all together. And so it was like a little bit of a reunion too.
Okay.
And I was just thinking of it as, it was so interesting, the whole concept of marriage.
Okay.
Like you got the one family on this side, the other family on this side. And these two people are about to join into an agreement.
Yes.
For life.
Yeah. it is, and yes, it is a covenant.
Yeah. And so, and you say that these things, love is in the air and all that good stuff. And I thought about later on after I left, I'm not going to go into all that onto how I got back, but it was a lot. I drove, and it wasn't in Michigan, it was in Wisconsin. So there's that.
It's a lot of miles, my friend, a lot of miles.
But I was going to make it to this wedding, okay?
I'm glad you did, because you got your suit on, but there we go.
Right. Got my suit on, and I ended up taking it off before the reception, but we're not talking about that either. So
I hope they don't know that, but go ahead.
But then, I was thinking about love. I know in a previous podcast I was talking about like what love is. But then seeing this wedding and then thinking about marriage and everything, it's made me really. And then also taking into account there's so my girlfriend's friend is having some issues in her relationship.
Gotcha.
And so this word love is getting thrown around. So I heard it at the wedding, and I'm hearing it in this same context. And they can't possibly be the same thing.
Ooh, wow. When you say that, okay, so you're here in the wedding, you're here in this relationship, you might have a little bump here and there, because relationships will have that. When you say they can't be the same thing, clarify for me a little bit. What can't be the same thing? And when you say that, because one is, hey, when you get married and you're at the height of like, ooh, all the emotions, love's in the air, like you said.
Yeah.
And then others where love's being thrown around, but it don't feel like love is in the air.
Yeah. So like the one side, there's the wedding where they're going into this agreement, right? This commitment to each other.
Yes.
That's when they seal the deal. I love you, right? And then on this other side, it almost seemed like it was just being used to kind of keep someone around, you know, to keep up perceptions, I guess.
I got you.
And so the title of this episode is Love Ain't a Feeling, It's a Decision.
Yes.
Because that was the major difference in the two scenarios. That it felt like it was the same word was used, but it was definitely a feeling over here.
So man, I got a feeling this is gonna be good. Because I totally agree with your assessment. Love is a decision. It is. You decide to love. But you think we grow up, and once again, this is the world telling us what love's supposed to look like and feel like, thinking that it's some magical like pixie dust or something that hits you, and you like love at first sight. I love. Yes, she's so beautiful, you know. And reality, we confuse love with lust. Because let me speak for myself. I'm speaking for myself. Okay, you're much.
Mix it with a lot of things.
Yes. But you know, I guess that's the thing. Like in the beginning, and I only can come back to myself, right? So when I was younger, well, when I was out in the world, whatever, I would see someone I liked, and I would like, oh man, you know, she the one or whatever. And I remember throwing the word love out, and it was lust. It wasn't love. So I told this girl I love her, and things didn't work out. We broke up. And then she said, "You told me you love me."
How'd that make you feel?
I felt that big. I mean, I felt like dirt. And I was like, wow. Because I didn't mean it. It was lust, you know? So I said to myself, I would never use the word love again. I would never in a relationship unless I really, really knew it. And this is back probably like just starting college. Just starting college a little bit. And I was like, man, I can't do that again. And I wouldn't use the word. Now fast forward.
Yeah.
I've been married, happily married for 22 years. You know my wife, Sherry, co-pastor Sherry. So, shut up. So basically, I remember, and she'll tell you the story too. We're dating, you know, I'm feeling her and all that. And she tells me, I love you. And my response was, do you?
A question mark. He said, do you?
And to this day, she teased me about that. I knew I loved her then, right? But I was scared to say the word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm going to give you, look, I'm not, Sherry, don't. we tight.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, but I would cut you some slack because it's hard to state something, stand on it if you don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Like if you don't really understand it, you know what I mean?
No, and I think your point is dead on because you're right, and that's where I wasn't sure what love. I mean, you know what it was because I misused the word early, you know, when I was younger, and I was like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to make that mistake again and hurt somebody and tell them something that I don't know if I'm really there, you know?
Right, yeah.
And so, so when you say love, it ain't a feeling, and it's a decision. It is, because at that point, I mean, I knew, she didn't know all this, but I went back and I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I do love her. I do. You know, I'm like, hey, okay, this is who I want to be with. I knew that, and I'm like, yeah, I do. But I had to reconcile that in my head.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I think so. That's really interesting, and I like that you went there, because, right, you might because I remember like when someone says like I love you, because you might have heard it in your family, because you know maybe this person or that person, or you heard it in a song or whatever, you might just throw it back like, oh, I love you too.
Yeah.
But if you don't really know what that means, if you don't really, if you've never took the time to understand it, then you might you might be acting in a way that shows that you don't love somebody.
Yes.
But you've already said it.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
That is, because it's not lining up.
It's not lining up. And so throwing out that word, and I don't like how it just gets thrown out.
No.
But like throwing out that word, I think it also makes other people misunderstand what it actually means.
Wow. So what you're saying, and I'm feeling what you're saying too, is like it's been misused so much.
It's misused.
And as you were talking earlier, I think about how it get weaponized too, meaning that, and you were kind of talking about a relationship there that someone had and they were dealing with stuff. People will use that word and weaponize it too. And what I mean by that is this, is that, if you love me, you wouldn't do that. If you love me, you would do this. If you love me, you wouldn't leave me. And so people will use the word in a way to kind of keep someone in a situation or get someone into a situation.
And see, it's crazy? On that same thing, that statement could be very valid. But the other person obviously it's not a mutual thing.
Yes.
If they said it.
Yeah, exactly. It could, and that's where the person who is saying it has to mean it, right? I mean, and if they don't, then they're misusing it. And it goes back to what you talk about, the actions, because when we love someone, or we show it in how we treat them.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't mistreat things we love. We don't. If we mistreat them, we might not understand what love is. Going back to that, and that's true too, because I'll use myself as a perfect example, and you and I have talked about this a little bit too. I didn't know. I never really was in touch with expressing my feelings growing up, because I didn't know how to articulate how I felt. I didn't, my parents loved me, I know that, right? But we didn't use the word love a lot. You didn't hear it a lot growing up. And matter of fact, until my wife Sherry, she came into my life and she was like, "Hey, I love you." As soon as I was like, "Yeah, I love you back," I feel it. She would see my mom and "Hey, I love you." I could see my mom like, "Love you too." It was like kind of stiff, but it was because we didn't use the word love a lot. So we had to learn how to express ourselves and use the word love and mean it. And that decision to even say it was a big decision.
It is, and it should be. In my opinion, it definitely should be. It's not something to just, "Oh, yeah, I love you too." Yeah, no, I love you too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, and then also, I don't know, we can get into pressure situations when, kind of like when you were younger, like the story that you said, when someone says it, you might feel obligated to just say it back.
Yeah.
But I think that's the moment, if you don't understand what it means, and if you don't know, if you feel like you don't actually love that person, then you need to stop it right there and bring that up. Yeah.
Don't. Well, you're right. But it takes courage to do that, right?
It takes courage to do that.
Yeah.
100%, because that means that things will be different after that point.
They will be. But you know what? But the great thing about it though is if you are honest about it, and even in situations like growing up, when I kind of stopped using, I wouldn't use the word. It was tough sometimes, but at the same time, I remember dating people who later came back and told me, "Well, I'm glad you didn't, lie to me. I'm glad you were straight up with me." Okay, because I could have said it. I could have took it to another place, but I'm like, I can't do it because I just couldn't take that. You said you love me again. I was just, that was a scar on me for years.
Yeah, and see, I take the word pretty seriously. I know, because because I'm coming from a similar situation where it's not the norm. It wasn't the norm in the house.
Yeah.
Just, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you too, and all this other stuff. That wasn't it. So it was used on occasion, and it was used strategically. It was like I'm about to go on this trip to another country. I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. I love you.
I love you. Just so you know.
Just so you know.
If something happened.
It was said.
Yes. This is how I feel.
And so I, inside of a relationship, I heard it, and I'm like, I love you too.
Uh-huh.
You know, peep the pause. Peep the pause. It's not a pause because, you know, I don't like you and this and that.
No,
It's a pause because I need to make sure that I'm saying exactly what I mean.
Exactly. And it's clear. Mm-hmm. And it's clear. Because you don't want, and man, it's interesting you say it, because that point, because when you're not sure about something and you're like, hey, worst case, you need to know this.
Yeah.
No,
right.
you know,
Scenario.
Yeah, you need to know this. And then the flip of it now, at least for me, is that I make it a point to let people who I care about, hey, I love you. Mm-hmm. You know, it needs to be constant, you know, and it's just a total 180. And it's because, to the same point, you said the word, you decide to. And it's not because, and you don't decide to love everybody. You know what I mean? That's the other thing too we need to talk about. Everybody's not lovable.
Yeah.
Everybody's not meant to be loved by, I know everybody's not meant to be loved by me. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that there's some people who it just don't click. You know, we cool, we're associates and all that or whatever, but I'm not that tight with them.
Got you.
You follow me? So it's not. And I guess.
Do you think it's possible to love someone from a distance?
Oh yeah. There's different types of relationships, right? So I mean, I got a friend of mine for years. He lives out in California. That's my boy, right? You know, I love that brother. I love him like he my brother. When we pick up. Matter of fact, saw him like back in the summer. You know, and you know, and you know who I'm talking about. It's like, hey, I love that brother. We talk. So that's a friendship love, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think I can love my wife from a distance because that's a different love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't, for me, I could not, and there's been opportunities where she's had opportunity to work out of state, something like that. I'm like, we talk about like, no, let's not do that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It'd be harder.
It'd be harder, yeah.
I want to take this point. I want to pause for a second.
Okay.
Because like you said, you talked about the different relationships. You know, you love your friend, you love your wife, and so we've still used the same word. The word has one meaning. So let's go now. I'm gonna go back to you know where it is.
Okay.
Day for tomorrow.
I know. I'm waiting for this to come back. Go.
So if we go back to the first time that translate love, when you see love in the Bible, the first time it was said in Greek, it's translated to agape.
Agape love, yeah.
Agape love.
Yeah.
That's in Matthew 24:12. It says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." That word agape is broken down to brotherly love, affection, goodwill, love, benevolence. Now, y'all might be smarter than me, but I had to break down benevolence. So benevolence is disposition to do good, an act of kindness. So love ain't a feeling, it's a decision. Therefore, I don't think you can have a different kind of love. You just have a different relationship.
You do, but you know, when you talk about agape love, and you can break down the word, and I can't remember the different breaks, but there's like the physical aspect of love, this, and that's a different word as well too. And you always hear about agape love, how God loves us unconditionally, and how we're supposed to love each other unconditionally too. So I'm glad you bring this up. But so when I talk about love, I'm talking about that personal relationship where it's like, okay, yeah, it's a decision, but it's tied to, hey, me talking, staying in touch with that individual, caring about them.
So the display of it.
The display of it is different
Gotcha.
in that respect. Now, me loving my fellow man is a decision I need to make, meaning that, hey, I shouldn't, you know, because my neighbor and I don't get along, I shouldn't do wrong to him. I should not, you know, leave stuff in his grass. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Get a dog, let it poop in his dog.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then, but you know, instead, I should. Hey, and I do this when it snows. Hey, I shovel and I get along my neighbor. We're cool, but we shovel each other snow. You know, because hey, I care about them.
This is a good neighborhood. Y'all want to move here?
Yeah, I'm not shoveling everybody's snow, but anyway, so trust me. But you know, it's just helping one another, caring for one another, caring what happens to someone, a stranger even, you know. But so yes, I mean I'm glad you bring this up because there are differences. So I was taking it from another like interaction, someone you care about, you know, parents, whatever the case may be. But the agape love is like that real.
That is the love, and the reason that I say that, it's a decision, kind of like what he was just saying. Well, what he was just saying was it's like I have to consciously look if we're talking about benevolence, goodwill. These are active words. These are things that I have to do. So for me to say I love you, for me to love you, that means that I have to be showing it. That means that I have to be doing things. I have a mentality. I have an energy towards you that might be different from other people.
Yes.
Because I love you. And so when you talk about when people just throw it around, like just, oh yeah, I love you. But it doesn't matter. You don't see that. Like it doesn't map out to benevolence, affection, goodwill.
It's empty. It's empty.
It's empty. And so I think we mix up. You said I think we mix up being in love. Like people talking about, oh, I'm in love with this person.
Yeah.
That's a feeling. To love someone is a decision.
But you know what? I'm gonna challenge that for a minute. So when somebody says, I'm in love, it is a feeling. But I guess, wow, I can't even find the words, but when you being in love, you feel the love.
You feel that. You feel that.
You feel it. But I wonder,
about infatuation.
I'm about to say, so is it really love that you're feeling when you say that?
Using the wrong terms.
Yeah, but okay, I'm with you. So we're on the same page. Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, when you say you're feeling that, you know, are you feeling that? Do you say infatuation? I lust, infatuation, whatever it is, or just, I don't know, that person makes you feel good about yourself. Who knows what it is? Yeah. But and that's fine. That's cool. You want that piece there, but I don't know if it's love, just like you said.
Now, my question to you, to further drive this point, is there ever, you've been married for 22 years, right?
And we've been together longer than that.
Been together longer than that. Has there ever been a time where y'all disagreed on something? And you didn't feel as enthusiastic as you did the first time you met her?
So you trying to get me in trouble, Mark. You see, I've been married for 22 years for a reason.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and
To answer your question, yes, we have definitely disagreed with one another. We have. And I will tell you this, in our disagreements, we've never disrespected one another. And when you talk about love, and maybe this ties, because I know that she loves me, that's what I see in how she treats me, that's what I see in how she talks, and I love her. That, to the action piece, makes me do my best not to disrespect her when we disagree. Because I'm like, I want her to know I love her, for one, and two, if I do, I'm not gonna say something that's gonna hurt her. Not on purpose anyway. Or to try to, because, and this might not be where you wanna go, but I say this because sometimes when people get angry, upset, or disagree with each other, they wanna lash out.
Right.
And they wanna hurt and cut down that other person, or, get back at them. And that's the opposite of love.
Yeah.
Because if you love that person, even though you might be upset, even though you might be mad, you don't want to hurt them. You know what I mean? So we've been blessed where when we do disagree, we might not talk. The house might be quiet for a while. Don't get me wrong. It might be, it might be some crickets. But we will come back and say, I'll say, hey, I'm sorry. I don't care if I feel like I'm right or not. At some point, or she'll say it, and we'll just be like, okay, we'll talk it through. But that's love. The love prevents us from lashing out at each other. To make the decision that we love one another. I love her, so I'm not gonna lash out. That's an act. Because trust me, because the flesh, I want to be like, I'm right, I'm right. Yeah. What you mean? So. But that's where, and I think, with God, I mean, that's like, God loves us, and I wanted to say that, and I thought we were going to go there in a minute, is that the only way we can really love is to realize how God loves us and understand that action you talked about. When we know how much God loves us and we know what he sacrificed for us, we can't love on our own. You know what I mean? We can't that action, especially agape love, we can't love on our own. God has to be in us to really truly love.
Yeah. Has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, it does.
And the thing about that too, you can't say that God loves us and then use the same word to manipulate someone.
Yes.
Those couldn't possibly be the same thing.
No.
Because the thing is, and to what you were off of what you were just saying, let's highlight the fact that they might have had a disagreement, but they still loved each other, and you could see that by how they handled that disagreement.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if God loves us, the agape love, that means that through our sins, through our faults, our shortcomings, through our blatant rebellion,
yes,
God has to have this kind of love. Because if he didn't, we'd have no hope.
No. If we didn't, he'd just
done.
Be done.
It'd be done.
See you later. Yeah.
So love can't possibly be a feeling.
No. I mean, and God's made the decision to love us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's intentional. God is he's intentional. That love. I mean, from the time, and we've talked about Genesis here, when Adam and Eve, when Adam ate that apple, and sin was ushered into man's spirit and heart, whatever. God's love for us is what brought Jesus.
Definitely.
Yeah. If he didn't, he'd be like, fine, you guys go ahead and tear yourselves up and see you later.
You'd be like, well, you know what? The Earth Project, over.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hey, hit the button on that one, y'all. Turn the switch off.
They messed up. I
don't like them no more. Let's go over here. Try this over here. So, yeah.
No, it's. So I think the main thing with this is like, we gotta really be cautious of the words we're using.
Yes.
Because everything ain't love.
No, it's not everything. And to the point you said, what's starting this whole thing off, love ain't a feeling.
It ain't a feeling.
No, it's not. And if you're feeling something, really, really dig down and figure out what you're feeling.
Dig down. Because also the feeling, at some point, we are humans, that feeling gonna wear off.
It will. It will. I mean, I think about family. I mean, I love my family. But I know I've not always been lovable as far as my family looking at me. I know they love me too, but sometimes I know they're like, Rodney, I just want to take you by the neck and just shake you to death. So, but they made the decision to love me. I made the decision, and I don't think people think about it that way, but you do. You make that decision because you're not going to always agree with people, especially those closest to us, because we're around them all the time. It's like there's going to be some times where I don't agree with that, and how you handle it is going to tell how you really, really love them or not, because your actions, like you said, will show.
Your actions will show it. Yeah, no, and man, because this feeling thing, if we want to just go a little deeper into that, it's like if love was a feeling, if love could be a feeling, then that means that if I don't feel the same way about you as I felt about my girlfriend, then that means I don't love you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you don't have that same feeling and it's not shared, then you don't love nobody. So if the feeling could be so flimsy,
yeah,
you can't build a relationship on that.
No, you can't. And I think you bring a great contrast, because how you feel about, in your case, your girlfriend, my wife, that's a different feeling, but it's a different expression of love. And maybe that's the way, how you express your love to that person.
Yeah.
And how you express love to your family, and how you express it to your friends, There might be some similarities. I mean, loyalty or whatever, and helping out and doing all the different things, caring. That's across the board. Yeah,
across the board.
Yeah. But the other expressions though are different. Like, you know, my wife loves flowers. Okay, I will buy her flowers to express my love for her because I want her to feel good. You know, so that's the expression. I'm not gonna buy you flowers.
It's all right. It's all right.
That's all right. I got you. But I might buy you a nice hamburger. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take it.
All right. But the same thing. I would express love for you in a different way than I express it to my wife.
And I just so I love how when you break down the definition of the word, like when you translate it and then you get the original definition of it, it gives you multiple words to describe it. But it's not any individual one of those words. So one of those words is affection. Now, I think affection, you can have different levels of affection towards people.
Yes.
But agape, that's one thing.
It is.
That's all is together.
Yeah. It is. It's all wrapped together. But
like he didn't just use it wasn't just used as affection is love. That's not it.
It's all wrapped into there.
It's all wrapped.
Yeah. But how, you know, but it's not telling you when you look at that wrapping, like the word affection can be expressed in a lot of different ways. Like I said, for you, it might a nice burger, a nice meal.
Roddy loves me.
Like, yes.
You bring that burger.
He cares. Hey, you know, for me, for me, it might be, I don't know what the heck. I love cars. It might be a license plate bracket, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, wow, Martell really loves me, you know? So, but the point though is that, and I think knowing what other people like, or their love language, I guess, is the key. You know, like my wife, her love language is, you know, she's affectionate, touching wise, you know, she loves flowers and all that. You know, that's how I have to express my love to her, so she know it and sees it and feel it. Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, it's a deep subject. I mean, I love the subject. I love the subject, get it? But it's it's people do need to know that it's something you decide to do. Yeah, and it's
a consistent decision.
It is. It's not and real love is not an on again, off again thing.
No, you love them or you don't.
You don't. Yeah, you do. You just either you're faking it or you're not.
I had, and this is I won't go too long. I know we're getting close. So there's a friend who I told this person that I love them multiple times, and I'm coming at it with the meaning, like the real word.
Copy.
And so we were having a bunch of issues. Like we were having these different disagreements, and they had, you know, just relationship problems. Okay. Yeah. And so then we got to a point where this person no longer wanted to be friends, but I wasn't lying when I said I loved them in the first place.
I got you.
So although we have to make different decisions, now we have to go in different ways, and our relationship has to change. My door is still open because I love the person.
I got you. I hear you.
So it can't possibly be a feeling because I felt like crap.
I know, you know, and I hear what you're saying, and I you know, and I feel, because just even you talk about that, because I know that relationship, and I think at some point God will repair it. But the fact that you made that statement shows that it was real love for that person. Because when you go through things like that, a lot of times you always hear this thing, there's a thin line between love and hate. That energy that people take to actually love sometimes can turn into anger, and just as much energy they had in loving an individual, they can take that same amount of energy to hate an individual. And I pray in that situation that the person, whoever you're talking about, will come around and understand that, you know, you love them for unconditionally who they are.
Yeah.
And it could, and it might. I mean, I know everything happens for a reason, and sometimes it's about growth. But I know someone else, and other people go through the same thing. And there's been people who I was close to, who I thought were real.
Yeah, you thought they loved you.
Yeah, yeah, and then you find out they don't, and it hurts. And letting them back in sometimes is hard. It is, because you like, that whole thing about, you feel kind of betrayed and all that, and you got to get back to that agape piece where it's like, hey, if it's unconditional, I love you regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
How I show it might alter a little bit, but yeah, it's not easy sometimes.
It's not easy sometimes, and I think that's a really a good point, because when you love somebody, you we said that it's black and white. You love them or you don't. And so it might be. I don't know. We don't have the thick skin like God does.
No.
We can't possibly have that.
No.
But people can, if you really love somebody, they might mess up once, twice, 3, 100 times. But just like the mother who can't let go of her son.
Yes.
She loves him. And he might have rebelled 600,000 times in all different sorts of ways.
But
she's still there. She's like, you can still come. You have a bed here.
The prodigal son. The father who, the son totally disrespected the father. Hey, I want my inheritance now. Give it to me now. Go off, squanders it, party and all that. Boom. Comes back humble though. Say, hey, I'll be a servant or whatever. And the father's welcome the person back, throws a party for him, all that. Because he loves the son. Just like you talk about the mother. Didn't say, hey, you shouldn't have done A, B, C, and D, but took him back. And that's that agape love.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about this kingdom that we live in.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the king, and this is why a man can't possibly create a kingdom like the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
Because the man probably gonna get upset at somebody.
Oh, ain't no probably too. Ain't no probably too. He will.
You're gonna really get upset.
No, look, I could just see myself right now like, nah. That one, yeah, you cool, okay, but we're not gonna be totally objective.
Yeah, and so the fact that the king of this kingdom loves us so much that, you've heard this if you've ever gone to church. He sent his only son
to die on the cross for us.
To die on the cross for us.
For our sins.
And then we, as a species, blatantly rebelled in the beginning, and then did so much between that time and when Jesus came. He still said, I want them in this kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. You think about in Noah time. He destroyed everything. He flooded the earth. And Noah built the ark. He's like, you guys are so corrupt.
We starting over.
Yes. New sheet of paper, But he never, exactly. But he never gave up. He still hasn't given up on us.
Yeah, and that, we have our smaller situations where there might be, in a household, the kid might be rebelling a whole bunch, or might be talking back or staying out late and all this other stuff, but we've done everything against God.
Yes. We have, we'll be honest. Man, Martel, we better get ready to conclude this segment, man, because I can see us going on another 30 minutes.
Yeah,
if we're not careful.
There's a lot more in that part right there, so. Cool. But I think the one thing that we've talked about, but just to summarize it, just to put it in a nice little bow, love ain't a feeling. It's a decision. And I think you have to really grasp that and take that into every situation that you come in contact with, every relationship, because you got to really know the difference between what it looks like to love somebody and what it looks like to like somebody.
Yes. Ooh, yes. The male words, boy, they get you, don't they?
Yeah, there's a big difference. But love is a decision. And it's a consistent decision. It has to be, because they are only together.
Yes.
If you really love them.
And as you said before, that decision you make will show in your actions.
100%.
Hey.
So, people, that has been this episode of Today for Tomorrow. This was Love Ain't a Feeling, It's a Decision. Please take note. Remember that. My name is Martel.
I'm Pastor Rod.
And we shall see y'all next week. Peace.